I'm going.
All right, so we were talking about plank seams at the end of the last section of the video, we put bedding compound in the plank seams, and we do, the first 8 coats of varnish. And you want to try to get this boat hydrated, and you really don't want it to grow anymore after you get done with your varnish. But the fact of the matter is, once you put it in the water, the planks are going to expand even further. So, and when they do, they're going to push that bedding compound out. Now, if you didn't have bedding compound, you'll have little droplets of varnish in there, and you will, when your planks expand, they'll push these little globules of varnish out, because that varnish, believe it or not, won't cure down in there, or at least not very fast. It'll push these little globs of varnish out. So either way, you're going to have something happening at the plank seams. It's a wooden boat. If you're so you would like to be in about the middle of the moisture content when you put your last coat of varnish on. Therefore, your planks might contract a little bit, but not split your seams open, and they might expand a little bit and not split your seams open. That's what you're shooting for. Okay.
Okay. What about? Let's go inside the boat for a minute, and let's take a look at those frames.
Well,
or do you want to do deck while we're here?
Deck,
okay, since we're here.
Okay. You have some deck boards because they were exposed to water under this guy's deck where he was storing it. You've got quite a bit of, you've got choice of how much repair can you do versus just replacing. This guy I'd probably replace. If you're a clearist and a preservationist, you can take this plank off, and you can epoxy it together, and you can do all kinds of stuff, and you can, but you'll have more time in it. Okay,
why would you take that plank off? Because of those cracks that are down there?
Yeah, this crack has really worked its way up. You have almost no way of clamping this guy while he's on the boat without adding some holes. So if you could get epoxy in there, it'd still be tough. And I'm going to suggest, since these planks are in such bad shape, you could replace them all, or you could take these guys off. If you're a purist, again, take these guys off, run them through a planer, and take some of the surface off, or run them through a sander. Go to a local cabinet shop that's got a sander, and run these things through there.
How thick are these planks?
These should be 1/2 inch. They've been sanded quite a bit, so they might be down 7/16 or 3/8.
Okay, so now those grooves, coming out of the factory, how deep are those grooves?
Oh, they're about
1/8 of an inch?
1/8 of an inch. These grooves are, and of course these 3 grooves are fake. This is a live seam, and these seams are fake. So, you can even sand through your seams and put these right back on a table saw and make new live seams. And then there are some people, we haven't done one yet, but you could do this like a 5200 bottom. You could put a layer of 4mm marine plywood on here, BS 1088 marine plywood. And you could bed these planks, actually we have done one, and you could bed these planks in 3M 5200. And so... Okay,
so now if we did that...
Then what'll happen is if you don't do that, these plank seams will continue to shrink and swell throughout the boat's life. And every winter you're going to be either fixing a seam that contracted and it split open, or one that because it was dry when you caulked and then you put it in the water, it squeezed up the caulk out of the way, or maybe buckled a plank or whatever. So you'll always be tinkering with them,
which
is not a bad thing.
If we're going to put plywood on it, we would take off the whole deck, everything.
Definitely these guys.
Those thinner.
If you take off the whole deck, then of course what happens is this raises up. But if you take off your whole deck, and maybe in this case, it's been sanded pretty thin. Right here, we're maybe 3/8. This has been sanded pretty thin over the years. If you look at this thickness.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go get a caliper and measure that, but that's very thin, so it doesn't leave you much. You could put like an 1/8 inch. You could put an 1/8 inch, or a 3mm. 3mm, I think, is the smallest. BS 1088. Take the top off. The thickness of the deck will be about the same. You bed these in 5200, and these won't move because your plywood is handling all the dimension. Will keep them from expanding side to side.
Okay, so we could replace the outside boards, maybe a little bit thicker, and then put in a 3mm plywood under the inside, so it would be kind of half a football shape.
Yeah.
In order to meet this line here.
Correct. Yeah.
It would just butt up against this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And then when we put these planks back in, do we put them in individual, or do we put them in 4 groups of 4 like this?
You put them on. You would have. If you wanted to preserve these, which some of these are not beyond preserving, you could actually use them. So if you want to preserve these, then that preserves. You'll have the original grain structure. We have the original grain.
Okay.
Everything will be the same.
Well, I could preserve them because with that plywood under there, I could go thinner.
That's right. That's right. That's the idea. That's the idea of the plywood.
Yeah. So then,
boat that we did that with. I forgot.
So then we have
one deck that way.
We have say 3mm plywood, and then we take this 1/2-inch deck. Say this 1/2-inch deck goes all the way down to 1/4 inch. Would that be a problem?
Nope. No, because you'd have all your strength out of your plywood.
Out of the plywood.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So even things like this here, where this is cupped quite a bit, we could maybe even get that. Well, maybe that's not cupped so bad.
Well, you got
maybe it's
this area's popped up. So when you bring that down, yeah, it is cupped a little bit. It's buckled a little bit right here. So when you take, so this one might need individual attention, as opposed to, and you might even want to go ahead and make this a live seam, because it won't matter. None of these seams are really going to move after you got the plywood under it, and handle these 2 planks separately from these 2. Because you get these guys in a sander together, you're going to take a lot of material off of this and almost nothing off of here.
Okay.
So,
it doesn't matter where I have live seams and where I have dead seams?
Well, what's going to show is, to the purist, what's going to show is
where the screws
you've
are.
got a batten where the live seam is, so you got this extra set of screws that you don't see over here in these. So to the purist, that might show up, or it would show up.
So it would be a good idea if we kept the live seams where they're at.
Yeah. If you go to a boat show, you know, somebody might catch it. I've been to boat shows where people the judges weren't going to catch it.